I'm at Hidcote, an iconic arts and crafts garden in Gloucestershire. There are lots of mature hedges and topiary here, which give the garden real structure and divide it into distinct rooms. Today I'm meeting Head Gardener Lottie Allen, who's going to tell us how she cares for these plants to retain their optimum size and shape. Hiya Lottie.
Hello.
So hedges and topiary form a really important part of the garden here, don't they?
Yes. So it's gardens within a garden, so there's many different areas and many different spaces, and most of them are either bounded by hedges or have topiary inside them, so it's used quite extensively at Hidcote.
So you must be doing a lot of hedge pruning.
Yes, so there's a lot of cutting. Generally we start in August when everything starts to slow down from growing, so that once it's cut it then looks sharp for the rest of the year until the sort of following year's springtime. And so yeah, we start in August and we hope to be finished by January, February time, but it does depend on the weather. It depends on how much more work we've got to do, because obviously everything else needs maintaining at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's a big old job.
Yeah, I bet. Okay, and so that's just normal sort of hedge maintenance, but I know here at the moment you're doing something much more dramatic, aren't you?
Yes, so we're in the pillar garden and we've just started renovation on this. It's a big project that's been on the cards for a while. The garden itself, this pillar garden, was set out in around 1933 and the idea was that they were these columns of yew, and slowly over time they've become sort of out of shape and out of scale. So they were intended to punctuate the space but not to dominate it.
Okay, all right, well I'm interested to learn about renovation, so show me what you're doing.
Yeah, come this way.
So, you've started on this one already?
Yeah, so the team and I started on them earlier part of the week, and we just got as far as we could. What we're looking to is, as you can see from the ones behind us, really skinning them back to the trunk, but also at the base. So these are really strange in the fact they've got these very square bases that you can just see sort of the last part of it before it comes off. So we need to make sure that there's some limbs or some branches at the base that will then reshoot, but then that we've got very slim uprights that then can reshoot from there as well.
Okay, so that you get back to, eventually you get back to exactly the same shape, the square bottom. And
Bottom and then the pillar going up through.
Yeah, okay.
We're working on sort of taking them back to some sort of growth points. There's a bit of dead that's obviously been shaded out.
And this is quite brutal, isn't it? I mean, if you were doing this to a hedge, well, it's quite scary. You know it's going to recover, but lots of people wouldn't.
Yeah, so yew is one of the only conifers that will respond. So most don't. Things like Leylandii really wouldn't. But the yew we know does, and there's some growth points coming through. So we know that it's ready. There's a little bit of light being able to get in there, but now that we'll expose it, the growth points will really start to shoot and hopefully sort of begin to cover the trunk.
Okay.
But it's just a case of working your way around and clearing as we go to expose the base, but also give it a chance and leave things high enough, as I say, at the base for the square framework.
And if you were doing this to a hedge, you could sort of stagger it, couldn't you, and do one side at a time, is that right?
Yes, so some particularly, a long sort of linear hedge, you'd potentially choose to do one side 1 year and then leave it to start to regrow, so probably between 2 or 3 years before you then do the other side, or you do the top. Generally sides first and then the top. But sometimes you find if the southern side of the hedge, that tends to have grown more because it's got more sun, and so it might just be that that's the side that you need to cut back, and then you are able to bring it back into shape anyway without any more sort of rejuvenative work.
Okay, but these you're doing all in one go, just get it over and done with.
Yeah, rip the plaster off.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And how long do you think it will be before they are all green and bushy again?
We're looking at the growth that we're starting to expose. Some of them are, we've almost got a certain amount of green growth on them already. But I think between 3 and 5 years, we'll certainly have green plants. And then it will be a bit longer before we're able to trim them into the shapes that we want to.
Okay, right. So sounds like it's well worth doing. Just have to be brave.
Yes, yeah, you just have to be brave.
National Trust gardens can be great sources of inspiration, and our gardeners and volunteers are always happy to talk. So why not come along and visit one of our places or get the National Trust School of Gardening from our shop.